If you've been waiting for the second stimulus check and you're wondering where the hell it is, you're not alone. Many people have been waiting, and of course, some people haven't even received the first round of stimulus yet. So we're going to be looking at it in today's video and giving you an update on what the situation is. So right now, as it stands, there has not been a second stimulus package passed just yet, but it is likely that it's going to come. It almost has to come. There's no way we can just rely on the first package for everyone to survive. We have to have another package passed, and there is bipartisan support for something along those lines of a second stimulus package being passed. So right now, as I'm filming this, yes, there is no stimulus check coming. There is not a second stimulus check on the way. So if you see headlines that say stimulus package passed, it's probably just what you saw from the House passing and not the Senate. A lot of people are ignorant, oblivious, and are making that mistake. They think, where's my second stimulus check? It's not here yet. Well, it ain't on the way, so you have to wait to see what happens with the Senate. Now, that number might be variable. It might be another $1,200 stimulus check, which Republicans are supporting. It may not be. If the Democrats get the better end of the deal, then there could be monthly payments. It could be a certain number of months. It could be for a certain number of months after the virus is over or after unemployment has risen to its normal rates. Another topic that people are looking at is whether or not we should totally cancel them for a certain extended period of time, rent and mortgage payments. Now, this does involve some debate. I could see why this is not a one-sided answer. This is not something that could be easily passed, of course, and is something that you do have to research and analyze greatly in great detail. But people are looking at it, and I'm curious to hear what you would think about doing that as well. Now, if you do want to attempt to cancel your rent or mortgage for free, then try just smashing that like button. It'll just help with the YouTube algorithm, so more people can see videos just like this and be in the know. It also helps me out a little bit. So if you could do that, it may cancel it, it may not, but there's no harm in trying. It's totally free to do so, so do click that like button. So as it is right now, we are waiting for the Senate to vote on the HEROES Act, and as we know, it does not have a lot of Republican support. It seems to be dead on arrival, as Mitch McConnell and lots of Republicans, including President Trump, have already declared. The HEROES Act, or the Health and Economic Recovery Omnibus Emergency Solutions Act, is essentially a $3 trillion stimulus package that does include stimulus checks, a second round of them, for Americans. This has massive Democratic support. It would easily pass the Senate on the Democratic side, but not the Republican side, and it would give a one-time, non-taxable $1,200 check to Americans who are facing financial strain, and it would give them this check for people who are making less than $75,000 per year. So this bill now must get through the Senate, the upper chamber of the US Congress, and the signature from Trump. Trump can veto this legislation, which would then effectively bring it back to the Congress, and then it would have to achieve a 2/3 majority in both the House and the Senate. So this is obviously going to face an uphill battle getting to Trump's desk, as Republicans in the GOP-controlled Senate are really bashing what's included, the overall cost, the $3 trillion cost, and it also includes provisions such as funding for state and local governments, hazard pay for frontline workers, and student debt relief, as well as added unemployment benefits. And Republicans would be more in line with something like a one-time payment as opposed to incentivizing people to not work. McConnell has already called it a partisan wish list with no chance of becoming law. So even if it did somehow make it through the Senate, which is extremely unlikely, the White House has already exercised its power and intention to use the presidential veto. But that doesn't mean Trump is entirely against giving more money to more people. He did say, quote, "I think we're going to be helping people out and getting some money for them." So like I mentioned in the last update video, the prominent senator from Missouri, Roy Blunt, is in favor of some sort of another round of stimulus, but he did say, quote, "We don't know when or exactly how big, but I think everybody believes that there will be future things we have to do to get the economy back." And not only are the Republicans in favor of more stimulus, but also the Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, he's also in favor of another round of stimulus as well. He did say that there has to be an additional economic relief passed. This is coming off the heels after the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that 38.6 million Americans have sought unemployment benefits in just these last 10 weeks. And of course, this is record numbers. We haven't seen these kind of numbers since the Great Depression. Now, in some states, it already has reached this level, but just this last week, a top White House economist announced that unemployment could very well reach 20%. And the IMF, or the International Monetary Fund, have already forecasted a deep global recession that could become the worst since the Great Depression. At this point, there's many different things that could happen. Of course, in the ideal world, a utopia, this would pass the Senate and get Trump's signature, but that's just not going to happen. So something that would probably happen is that it would be a different aid package. This would be transformed into something else totally different from the HEROES Act, and that seems to be the more likely scenario here. Or this thing could just totally fail and something completely different would take its place, which could also very well happen. Now, if the HEROES Act did miraculously pass, but more specifically, it would be a $1,200 stimulus check for each member of a family, up to a cap of $6,000. Now, $6,000 per household is higher than the first stimulus round, and it would raise the allowance per dependent from $500 all the way up to $1,200. So your kids are going to be getting a nice payday as well. But if you have a lot of kids, it's not all of them. It's going to be a maximum of 3 dependents. So you're going to have to tell Jimmy and Bobby that they're not going to be getting any money. But Susan, Bill, and Logan can get some money. So let's just say a family of each parent and 3 children, that would be that maximum rate of $6,000 per total household. Now, you would also be able to claim children 17 years and older, which is much different than the first stimulus bill, which skipped over 17-year-olds and some college students. The HEROES Act also further proposes that the group of dependents and eligible non-citizens receive retroactive payments to compensate for the first stimulus check that passed them by. Now, Kevin Hassett was asked about this on CNN recently. He is an American economist. He's the current senior advisor and also a former chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors in the Trump administration from 2017 to 2019. He was asked about the extension of $600 unemployment benefits. This is a pretty substantial amount of money because it's on top of whatever you're earning from unemployment insurance or if you're on PUA. So it's all together and combined. So a lot of people are quite well off right now, making quite a few bucks, as opposed to these frontline workers who have not received any benefits or hazard pay, which Republicans are railing against. And so people are going to really want this extension of unemployment benefits as it's set to expire at the end of July. Kevin Hassett kind of dodged the question. He isn't totally in favor of an extension of unemployment benefits, and he even expressed that he, quote, thinks it's possible that we'll see a strong enough economy that we don't even need another stimulus. So that's something to consider as well. If the weekly $600 payment is extended, it would be until January 2021, a stark difference from the end of July. But the next proposal, whether it be HEROES Act or something else, is also hoping to seek funding and aid for struggling businesses and the U.S. Postal Service, which Trump and Republicans have also been strongly against funding the USPS. Now, the proposed legislation here is a self-described, quote, bold response to the coronavirus pandemic and the economic collapse. This is according to the House fact sheet, and the financial support is intended to cushion the, quote, economic blow of the virus crisis. Pelosi has explicitly said that this is necessary to put another stimulus check in the hands of Americans, saying, quote, putting much needed money in the pockets of American people. What a lot of people don't realize here is that the unemployment numbers that we're seeing could actually be a lot higher than what's being truly reported. Since the middle of March, 38 million people have already filed a jobless claim and seeking unemployment benefits, but that number could be a lot higher because a lot of people were not able to get through and file that claim. So when you have all these unemployment people coupled with everyone taking a massive economic hit from the pandemic, you're going to need some sort of stimulus package passed. You're going to need some more relief to Americans. It wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing putting more money into the hands of people, as that money is going to be immediately put right back into the economy anyways. It's going to be spent right away, whether it be paying the rent, the mortgage, or some people consuming things. And by the way, if you haven't seen my video yet talking about what Americans are truly spending their stimulus checks on, you can see that video. The link will be down below. I went into all the reports, all the data, all the statistics, and I looked at what people are actually spending that $1,200 stimulus check on. That link will be down below. There's pretty interesting finds in there. You're going to want to see that after this video. All this money that people are receiving, almost no one, virtually no one, is going to be keeping this money, saving it, putting it in a savings account. It's going to be circled right back into the U.S. economy. So I'm quite shocked as to why there's so much non-bipartisan support here, and they're really playing politics. I do understand that there's an election season coming up right around the corner. However, we're dealing with something where a lot of people are struggling, and if you want to get their vote this come November, because not only is it the White House, but it's also going to be new Senate seats and House seats, then you might as well be favor in trying to bribe them with some stimulus money. But you do have to look at the other side's view, and extending something like the $600 payments would disincentivize people from searching for work, and it would make it a lot harder to return these unemployment rates back to normal. It'd also be more funding for food stamps and federal food assistance, and so I could see why there wouldn't be a lot of motivation behind someone searching for work, searching for employment, and getting the process going. Whether you're for opening up the country again or not, you do have to realize that people are not going to be able to get back to work the day one that the country is reopened. It's going to take time. It's going to take a long time. People and teenagers graduating from college are now entering the worst job market since the Great Depression. Even though experts are saying that this is going to potentially take years to recover from, there still would be more economic damage from not providing relief to people than just reopening the country and letting people just free anarchy trying to find work and not helping them or guiding them or providing any assistance whatsoever. That's why in the last video, when I talked about the $4,000 tax credit that would effectively let people be able to use this money towards education, upskilling, and being trained in new jobs and skills, could be something that's included, but I don't want that to be the focus here. It's unclear whether or not you get this money up front, or you wouldn't see this benefit until when you go to file your taxes in the next tax season. But it is something interesting because it would guide people and let people find a new job, a new skill. A lot of people have been laid off and are totally lost. And even though they're collecting unemployment, that's great. They're receiving their benefits. One day it's going to expire and they're going to be left literally, in a lot of cases, in the streets. But if you do want some silver lining, another $1,200 stimulus check is looking likely. And I do hope that they let dependents as well claim this money, as it would help people like me. It's great that we're able to provide funding to big businesses and corporations, and in some scenarios it is necessary to bail them out. But because people are not going to be able to get those jobs, unfortunately that money is never going to be able to trickle down. Instead, that money would only line the pockets of the CEOs and executives and shareholders, as opposed to the workers and working Americans. Right now, literally, as you're watching this in these next couple weeks, this is going to be a substantial pivotal point for a lot of people. It's either going to let them stay at home more and watch their kids and not have to worry a lot, or a lot of people are going to be in big trouble. So this is a apex we're in right now, the economic apex, in my view. If the HEROES Act or something like it does not get passed, there's going to be big trouble and it will do more damage than good. As always, I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Tell me, what do you anticipate here? What are you hoping for? What's the best bill to pass? Let me know in the comments down below. Let's chat. But I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, be sure to give a big thumbs up, smash that like button. It just helps with the YouTube algorithm so more people can see videos just like this. And if you'd like to see more videos from my channel, I do post videos every single week without fail. I've never missed an upload in a very long time. It's been well over a year since I've been making videos, and I have not missed a video. If you want to subscribe, I post videos every single week covering business, finance, entrepreneurship, mindset, strategy, and tips and tricks from my own experience. Be sure that you do click that big red button. And if you'd like to be notified every single time I make a new video, so you're first in line to see it before anyone else does, then do hit that little notification bell as well, so you're notified every single time I make a new video. See you in the next one.